Hey everyone, it's Army Gaming. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Monster Legends El Colosal Mythic Seasons. El Colosal is back with Mythic Monsters taking the spotlight. In this massive breeding event, you'll be able to get Season 2 Original Mythic Monsters and Season 2 Cosmic Mythic Monsters. All you have to do is put two legendary monsters of the same element together in the breeding mountain and see what happens. If the result is a mythic monster, congratulations, you discovered the right combo. If you get Mudflow instead, try the combo again, you're really close. If it's neither a mythic monster nor Mudflow, then start again with a different combo. So if you happen to get Mudflow, no, that is not a failure. It just doesn't always work to actually get the mythic monster. That's actually the correct combo. So if you get Mudflow, you got the right combo. Keep going, see who you get. Every time you beat a mythic monster, you'll receive a mythic token, which will help you advance through a time challenge. There you'll receive special rewards every time you reach a milestone, as well as Stardust or Amber as you climb up the time challenge ranks. Remember, El Colosal only lasts for 24 hours. The more you share with other Monster Masters, the more mythic combinations you'll be able to discover together. So what we're going to do is, I highly encourage that if you are trying out combinations, you have to join some Discord that finds the combos. So for example, I'm going to be using Skill to Kill. There'll be a link in the description. You can test out the combos there. There's a section where you post all of your failures, all of your successes, and then they essentially get a final list of what monsters are available. So yeah, I'll link that in the description. Right now, here's a screenshot of what's available: Solarflare, Tiny, Henrich, Unspeakable, Crasher, and Urder. So if you want any of those monsters, there are the combos right there. From that list, I would say probably go for Solarflare since he has Taunt. He used to be an exclusive $50 monster. He has Taunt, and you can potentially use him with the Dodge Area monsters from the Corrupted era. But with that said, let's spend the portion of this video talking about all the Season 2 Cosmic Monsters and Original Mythic Monsters. Let me start off by saying that the number one monster you should go for is just whatever monster makes you happy. If you're a collector, if you've always liked a specific monster, if you've always wanted that monster, please go ahead and get yourself that monster. Don't worry about what people say. If a monster makes you happy, go for it. Alright, with that said, we have Tiny. This should be the free-to-play Legends Pass monster. Not a monster worth getting. I will say though, this monster does have an alternative skin. Maybe you have it. And this monster is the only monster that can apply Mega Taunt to the enemy. That's right, this monster gives Mega Taunt to the enemy, so it's such an interesting mechanic. But that's Tiny for you guys. We have Miseris, the Team Race monster of Season 2. He could resurrect monsters. He can give double damage to your monster. He can remove positive effects. When he got released, because he was a Team Race monster, he was actually being used as an attacker, so that was interesting. Let's see what else we have. We have Morix. This monster you can do without. You do not need to get Morix. Kralik is another monster I don't think you need to get. Yes, it's Easter right now, but no, I'm sorry, you don't need this mechanical bunny. I think he has like different elemental based attacks, but even then, not really worth getting. And we shouldn't have a kind of... Okay, there we go. Urder. Urder is the top monster. If we're talking OG Mythics and we're talking purely the tank mechanic and the taunt mechanic, this is probably the best of the bunch. Has like damage protection, can do shield, really good monster. But again, I don't think you need any of the original Mythic monsters. Considering we're in a corrupted era, they just won't last. Next up, we have Rara Avis. This is an extra turn attacker. So she's magic based and has quite a bit of extra turn skills. I think you can cycle 4 attacks with her, maybe 5. But even then, not worth getting. You know, now with corrupted monsters, and if you're a spender, if you have Unrelenting Assault, anyone is an extra turn attacker. But even then, we're getting a couple extra turn attackers. So I think you can do without Ra. And then we have Unspeakable, another tanky monster, another taunt monster. I think you can do without him though. If you're deciding between the two, go ahead and get yourself Urder. But if you really like Unspeakable, you like the design, you like the YouTuber, then go ahead and get Unspeakable. Alright, next up we have the Season 2 Cosmic Monster, starting things off with Aatrox. I remember when this monster got released, his design was really cool. Everything about him was cool. His skill set though, when he was leaked, I think he had a better skill set, and then he got released with his actual skill set, and he just became not good. So yeah, that's what I remember about Aatrox. Let me know if you guys remember the same thing. I remember the leaks was good, but then he got released, and it's like, whoa, we were not expecting you to be bad. Alright, moving on, we have Digale. This guy hits hard. He has a Villain Hater extra turn skill. So, he will deal triple damage against any monster in the villain book. He has strong AoE skills. He has a strong single target attack, so he's pretty powerful. He can hold revival as well. You can't stun this monster. He's also immune to curse, so very interesting. And you can't easily trade disable. As you see at rank 3, he has a self-trade protection. This was the Golden Pass monster, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty good monster, especially at taking out dark monsters. Like even a Mouseron, you might be able to take out a Mouseron with this guy, because he has a strong light-based AoE attack. and again, that single target. But I think you can still do without him. But if you want him, from the mythic monsters we have, the fact that he can res, I think any monster that can res, any cosmic monster, even an OG that can res, is going to help you out, because this corrupted era is a lot stronger than the previous eras. We have Solarflare, who's another one I could potentially recommend because he has taunts, right? He's also immune to control at rank 3. You can just partner him up with your Lady Meow. You have Lady Meow or a Wingsu, so you could still make the mechanic work. We have Tabora. This monster dominated basically the whole Cosmic Era, combined with any denier, typically Kodama, can remove positive effects and trait disable in a single attack. So such a strong, useful monster. Could also block torture from the enemy. Could also do damage protection. Could also, man, she could do a lot now that I think of it. Could also res, by the way. Also immune to stun. So powerful monster, although I will say not really needed anymore. Now we have Dispelling Fist to remove positive effects. So as far as removing positive effects to get rid of like Megaton, that's taken care of with Dispelling Fist. So I as much as she dominated the Cosmic Era, I would say you don't need her. Maybe if you just want her for collection purposes, because she did play such a dominant role in the game. But I think you can do without Tabora. And then we have a Lindworm. I cannot believe SocialPoint gave this monster out in a maze. This is the best cosmic monster. I have no problem saying that he's the best. Of all the cosmic monsters that was ever released, he was released in Season 2. He was a maze monster, so completely free to play. And he's just, every once in a while, we get a unique monster like him that can do so much and is so, like, versatile. I would consider Wormlab the same. Like, so many uses for him. If you wanted to do attacker, you could. If you want to support, you could. If you want to run 3-speed, if you want to run team speed, you could. Lindworm is the same way, kind of. I wouldn't say he's an attacker, but you run him with 3-speed most of the time, if not always. There's arguments for team speed if you have some other monster going first. Now in a corrupted era, maybe team speed, and then you have some other monster go first. But the reason Lindworm is so good, and you typically run him 3-speed, is because he can churn transfer. So you take the slowest monster in the game. Technically, they have Lindworm speed, because that monster can hold all team speed. Lindworm can just churn transfer into that monster. So one, you have a churn transfer skill. You have an AoE baby reversion, so you can churn all the enemies into baby. If they have a Megaton monster, you can use that as a way to get rid of the Megaton and attack the allies. You can remove positive effects. You have a skill that that resets cooldowns. So if you got hit with CDA, you can reset cooldowns. Oh, and by the way, your trait at rank 1, you get cooldown immunity. So for example, if it was Tabora, Kodama, and Kodama activity of cooldowns, and Lindworm was next in the churn order, you do not get hit with CDA, so then you can reset the cooldown on one of your allies that did get hit with CDA. So that was super useful. Also possession immunity. And then this monster also had a death countdown, so I did see some players running the death countdown mechanic combined with the baby. This monster could also single CDA you. He's amazing. He's the one monster I think everyone should go for. If you're trying to breed monsters, whenever the combo comes out, get yourself a Lindworm. If you have a bunch of Stardust, if you've been saving up Stardust, you know, he might still be useful in the future. You never know. Like I said, you could always switch him to team speed. If we get a faster churn transfer monster, there could be arguments of churn transfer corrupted monsters. There could be arguments to running that corrupted monster. At some point, you churn transfer into Lindworm, or when Lindworm finally gets his churn in, he churn transfers back into one of your other corrupted monsters. He can also hold a revival essence, so if he dies, he comes back to life. He can also hold a staff, so like Cane of Atlantis to recover stamina, Master Staff. Such a good monster. Definitely Lindworm is my #1 choice. What else do we have? Seaquake. Do not get Seaquake. Terrible monster. No. Bye. No Seaquake. Next up, we have Henrich. He's a CD8 artifact monster, so you can't hit him with Deny. You can't land Torture. He can activate your cooldowns. And I believe he also has like a single freeze and like a single burn or AoE burn skill. So yeah, I actually like him. He wasn't used as much as I thought he would, especially considering he has artifact and he has CD8. I think Kodama just dominated a little more over Henrich. I mean, CD8 artifact, again, pretty cool. And considering like no one got Flamera, if you need a CD8 denier, Henrich could be your guy. Let's see what else we have. Craster. Craster deals percentage damage. I think you can do without him. You don't need him. In this meta, we have Root Shot and we have Colonel Pip. If you happen to not get any of those two monsters, then maybe you could breed yourself a Crasher and you would be able to do percentage damage against the enemy. But overall, it goes back to the #1 monster I think you should be getting is a Lindworm. And then there's arguments for nostalgic reasons you can get Tabora if you don't have her. But I would say maybe Solarflare, maybe Digal. But overall, it's really just Lindworm that you should be prioritizing. And looking at the game, it looks like SocialPoint got rid of the Easter April Fool's joke. Yeah, the April Fool's joke. Because Almond Monster are back to normal. That means in war, they are back to normal. I think people really didn't like the change. Personally, I didn't think it was such a big deal. Like, if anything, it was fun. Like, kind of just going through the enemies, clicking on them, seeing their traits, and being like, oh, I know who you are. Oh, yeah, let's battle. The turn order did kind of suck, but I know my own monster speed, and I could always look at the enemy speed. So I figured for like 1 day or half a day, it wasn't that big of a deal. But to each their own. Looking at, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, once the combos are out, what you do is you just breed them here in the Ultra Breeding Tree. What I will let everyone know is that the race starts tomorrow, right? This season is going to end. Corrupted Season 3 is starting tomorrow because Corrupted Season 2 ends today, which means we have a race. So, don't go crazy with your hatchery. Don't go crazy breeding, trying to get a Lindworm if you're going to block your hatchery, because then that'll stump your team. So just be careful. That's the biggest thing I have to caution. SP always does the Colosal events right before the race, or at the same time as the race. So please, 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 please be careful with that. Yeah, the day before the race. So be super careful with that. I think that's the biggest caution I have to say, because overall, as cool as it would be to get Lindworm, I still think prioritizing race monsters, corrupted monsters, especially Karukage, who has anticipation, ooh, you definitely want to get that monster. You do not want to miss out on him. So with that being said, guys, that is going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful. Link in the description once again to Skill to Kill. Thank you guys very much, and remember to subscribe.